It's time for the Trading Stocks Made Easy podcast. Each week, Trading Stocks Made Easy demystifies stock trading and investing so you can profit big. And now, here's the host of Trading Stocks Made Easy, the wealthy investor, Tyrone Jackson.
It is I, Tyrone Jackson, the wealthy investor, and welcome back to Trading Stocks Made Easy. Now, on today's show, we're going to take a deep dive into technology stocks in the year 2021 and Dow stocks in the year 2021. Now, you may have heard in the past, sometimes people talk about the idea of having a balanced portfolio, right? If you load up your stock market portfolio with just tech stocks, you are taking on an extreme amount of risk. Now, let's talk about this. Why would you be taking on a lot of risk and buying shares in new technology companies or streaming companies? Because we don't know if those companies are going to be around in 2 to 5 years. So just a name out of a hat, a stock that's done very, very well, which is Netflix. Publicly traded, a lot of people have owned it since the beginning and has done very, very well. Some people bought the shares at $50. We know Netflix is traded above $500 a share, doing really well. When you buy into a company and you're holding its shares, what is the risk? Well, the risk is that the company's top-line revenue will suddenly stop growing. And institutional investors know when top-line revenue stops growing, they will sell the stock. Now, there's a difference between being an institutional investor and a retail investor. When you're an institutional investor, you're trading with a bank's money, a college endowment fund, you're trading with investors' money, other people's money, and you're probably, the slang term on Wall Street is running money. You're probably running an account that is anywhere from $250 million to just under $1 billion. Plus, if you add margin to that, you're in multiple billions. So you're going to play the game as an institutional trader or investor totally different than the way that you and I would trade. And I've talked about this before, but the number one tool that is used by institutions is something called stop loss orders. So when you're trading with $100 million worth of stock and that stock starts to drop, every professional institutional traders know to have a stop loss order in. So if the stock radically drops, software kicks them out of some or all of their shares, and this is what causes volatility. You and I, if we're covered call writers and we're investing in shares of, let's say, Netflix, for example, for the long term, mostly we do not use stop loss orders. We don't stop out of stocks because that is a professional trader's tool. But when professional traders stop out of stocks that are growing, they have a set of parameters and reasons why they do it. The most significant time a company will stop out of a particular stock is around earnings. Now, stopping out is a skill in and of itself used by institutions. Some institutions stop out because if they sell 500,000 shares at 10 a.m., they're trying to drive the price of the stock down to pick it up by the end of the day. You should never, ever, ever, ever trade around what you think an institution is doing because you'll never be able to figure it out technically on your own, even if you use things like Japanese candlesticks, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So therefore, the guidelines that you and I must follow are earnings. Now, let's talk about a lot of these streaming services that have gone public. What is driving earnings growth? It is the amount of people subscribing to the service. So, for example, I'm embarrassed to tell you, I don't even know what I pay for Netflix, but I have it at all of my homes, right? So they keep raising the price and I go, that's a shame. But you know why they keep raising the price? To, in part, appease Wall Street investors. So the big thing around Netflix is a slowing in subscriber growth, meaning the company is still picking up subscribers, but the rate at which they're doing that is slowing. Therefore, the stock price tends to slow because Wall Street traders and investors go, where is all this top line revenue coming from? if it's not coming from subscribers. So you'll hear a lot of analysts say things like, well, I think subscriber growth is going to slow in the US, but it's going to accelerate overseas, and everybody is essentially just guessing. But when you load up on tech companies, and in particular streaming services, you are willing to take that risk. So here's the trap that a lot of retail investors fall into. When they first start handling their own money, they will load their entire portfolio up on semiconductor stocks, streaming services, and they say this is the time to get rich. When the market reverses and everyone stops out, their portfolio value goes to half because they're holding the stocks that the institutions have stopped out of. When you're investing on your own, your job is to balance risk with reward. Does that make sense? So if you look at your stock portfolio right now and you are 80% in tech, semiconductor, streaming services, you are going to see a dramatic fall at some point in the value of your portfolio within the next 52 weeks because something will scare the market and institutions will stop out. So there is a difference in the stock market between growth, wealth creation. In other words, I'm going to hold all these stocks to create long-term wealth, or am I going to switch my portfolio to wealth preservation mode? When I'm in wealth preservation mode, rather than loading up on all of these growth stocks, I'm going to balance it with companies that have been around for a while. And most of those companies that have been around for a while that also pay dividends are what? In the Dow Jones Industrial Average. So what are we really trying to do as people who are pursuing wealth and residual income in the stock market? Part of our goal, especially for 2021, has to be a balance between companies that are rapidly growing and companies that have stable growth where their dividends are growing as well as their stock price. And that's in part what getting a financial education is all about in 2020, is learning how to balance out the growth, creating wealth, with the preservation of what you have. A lot of my students make the mistake of looking at the height of their account during a given year. The account pulls back just a little bit because the market pulls back, and they say, my account value used to be. Well, first of all, that was just your account value. You didn't really have hundreds of thousands of dollars because you were holding them in stocks. Remember, part of what goes on in the stock market is capturing profits, right? So there are people who are very, very rich on paper, but since they only own the shares and they've never captured the value of those shares, they have paper profits. So paper profits you cannot eat off of, right? You cannot sustain yourself off of paper profits, right? We like them. You have great paper profits when you hold a company that's done very, very well over a 5-year period, but you must actually capture the gains by selling those shares in order to have the money credited to your life and in a way that you can actually spend it. So what are we talking about here in 2021? We're talking about being smart, having a financial education, not just being greedy and going for growth, because we know if something happens externally in the world that frightens the market, you're going to get a sell-off and institutions are going to stop out. Who wants the value of their portfolio to drop radically because you loaded up too much on tech? That is a bad habit. Talking about good habits for 2021 is what I'll do right after you take a listen to this.
Want to increase your stock market trading profits? Then you need to start your monthly membership to WITradeschool.com right now. Don't understand how to write covered calls for monthly income? No problem. Simply review Tyrone's latest stock trades in our video library as many times as you need. WITradeschool.com is all about helping you get the financial education you need to earn money in the stock market and change your financial life. Tyrone Jackson, the wealthy investor, has helped his students earn thousands of dollars per month trading stocks online from home. These are people just like you. So what are you waiting for? Follow Tyrone Jackson's red-hot stock trades and investment strategies today. Don't wait. Start your monthly membership at WITradeschool.com right now.
Yes, join me at WI Trade School. This is where I am able to explain the market to you on a weekly basis, what stocks I like, what stocks I don't like. Start your membership there today, and you and I can dive deeper every single week into the stock market. You know, one of the things I love doing as the wealthy investor is keeping all of this as simple as possible so that you can have not only paper profits, but build real wealth. Okay, so before the break, we were talking about this idea of loading up on tech stocks. Now, you could do that, but you have to understand that if revenue growth slows at these tech companies, your portfolio is going to go down. So your objective is to stay balanced. Now, let's talk about companies that are in the Dow Jones Industrial Average, and I'll choose two companies to talk about right now. Number one is Home Depot, ticker symbol HD. Why do I like a stock like that, and why does it have a place in all of the portfolios that I manage? The answer is very, 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 very simple. Because of its stable growth. You see, Home Depot doesn't make its money off of subscribers. It makes its money selling products and services, retail, to consumers and contractors all over the United States. Now, if you look at that business model, how they make their money, that is generally a stable way to grow a business. So Home Depot not only sells you products off the shelves for a markup, they are now in the services part of the home sector, which means if you need a subcontractor to come in and put in those kitchen cabinets, they will do that for a fee. I did that in one of my homes, by the way, and I love going through Home Depot because the company's very, very reliable. They hire the subcontractors. The subcontractors don't get paid until I sign off as the customer on the work that they did, plus I review them. So I don't have to go out in the marketplace to find people. Home Depot does that on their own. They vet everyone, and then they send those people to my house to install the kitchen, the bathroom, whatever it is that I want. All right. They not only provide that service to me, but to millions and millions and millions of people on a daily basis around the country. Home Depot also has learned how to respond to crisis. So when a hurricane hits in some part of Florida, they're masters at logistically having the supplies at your local Home Depot that contractors and consumers are going to need. They're a member of the Dow Jones Industrial Average. They pay a dividend, and what happens? That dividend has risen over time. So for those of you who don't listen to the show very often, a lot of people say, could you explain what a dividend is? A dividend is your share of a company's profits paid out on a quarterly basis. Most tech stocks have not matured to the point where they can pay a dividend, which puts them in the higher risk category. So if you're really looking at building a balanced portfolio, you should own a significant amount of stocks in the Dow that have matured. Now, those stocks don't go up 100% a year, but they do pay a dividend, a check, which you can have sent home to you every single quarter. So this idea of balancing high risk with established companies is what today's show's all about. Now, some people are going to say, well, Tyrone, what's the ideal mix of high risk and established companies? Well, this is something that we call in the financial sector your tolerance for risk or your risk tolerance. It depends. The general rule of thumb here is if you're older, you should have a more stable portfolio with stocks that pay a dividend. If you're younger, let's say in your late 20s and 30s, you have time on your side to overweight your portfolio with a little bit more of these tech and streaming companies because you have time to make up for any losses and you can still stay in wealth building mode. But there is a specific allocation that I recommend when it comes to risk versus low risk. Okay, so those of you who are part of the program, you know that allocation by heart. I go over it over and over and over again. And no matter what your age, it seems to work best for everyone. But you are going to have to find out your personal tolerance for risk. So a lot of people say, well, I don't mind risking a lot of money in the tech sector because even though I'm in my 50s, I want as much growth as possible. Now, I can think of one person who took that approach in their 50s. She loaded up on all these tech stocks. We had a reversal And some of these stocks didn't deliver on earnings, and her account went from like $300,000 to $75,000. Now, could you imagine how much that hurts? And what happened was she really wasn't obeying the idea of a balanced portfolio. She was just getting greedy. She would say to me things like, tell me the stocks you think are going to double in the next 52 weeks. I will buy all of them. Now, I have some theories on greed, right? I think sometimes people are starving their whole life financially, and when they get exposed to trading and investing in the stock market, their goal is to get rich as quickly as possible. And that was a painful lesson for that person. Even though I kept saying, please don't organize your portfolio this way. Please don't allocate your portfolio this way. She did it anyway, and then she paid the price. I don't want you to pay the price for losing money, which takes us back to what? Getting that financial education. So what's the moral of the story on today's show? Think about what a balanced portfolio means to you. Should you have 80% of your money in technology, 50% of your money in technology, and 50% in stable companies like Home Depot? Only you can decide. Here's what we do know. Once you figure out your balance and you become a covered call writer, you are now in an income-generating mode on a weekly and monthly basis, and covered calls are the single best trade for the retail investor ever created because it allows us to take control of our money and generate spendable cash or reinvest that cash on a monthly or weekly basis. That's why I tell you the same thing on every show. You have the power to change your life when you have the right education. You have the power to change your family's financial destiny when you understand how all of these financial pieces of the puzzle fit together in your trading and investing account. And you have the power to pull the money out of mutual funds and direct your financial wellness and greatness in a path that suits you, your sensibility, and your tolerance for risk. You have a lot to look forward to. Keep an open mind. Stay with Trading Stocks Made Easy. And if this podcast helps you in any way, do me a favor, share it on your social media. Because in America, the one thing we need right now is a financial education. This is Tyrone Jackson, the Wealthy Investor, and I'll see you right back here on the Trading Stocks Made Easy podcast next week.
You've been listening to the Trading Stocks Made Easy podcast. Be sure to rate and review our show on iTunes. While you're on iTunes, be sure to click the subscribe button, and you'll automatically receive our next episode.